What a beautiful song. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. I am here once again to speak today, and I'm thrilled to be back. Thank you so much for having me. It is truly an honor to be talking about that beautiful verb, peace. Peace. Yes, it's going to be fun. But before we dive in, I always think it's a good idea to start off a talk with a little humor. So, here we go. A teacher asked the children in her Sunday school class, if I sold my house and my car and I had a big garage sale and I gave all that money to the church, would I get into heaven? No, all the children said. Well, if I cleaned the church every day and I mowed the yard and kept everything neat and tidy, would I get into heaven then? And again the answer was, no. Well, she continued, how can I get into heaven? And in the back of the room, a 5-year-old boy shouted, you gotta be dead! Okay. Jimmy was a little bit nervous about that joke, but I thought it was hilarious.
There were alternate endings.
All right, one more. A kindergarten teacher gave her class a show and tell project, and they needed to bring in something the next day that represented their religion. The first child got up in front of the class and he said, my name is Benjamin, I'm Jewish, and this is the Star of David. The second child got up and she said, my name is Mary, I am Catholic, and this is the crucifix. The third child got up and said, my name is Tommy, I'm a Lutheran, and this is a hot dish. Take a moment right now to turn to your neighbor, and in 30 seconds, tell them what you visualize in your mind when you hear the word peace. Turn to the person next to you or across the row. So, just a quick moment of sharing about the word peace. Okay. Very good. I'm sure we have lots of different visions of peace, and we're going to be discussing some more of those. I just had to do this one song for you today because in my mind, this is what peace is all about. Don't worry, mother, it'll be all right. Don't worry, sister, say a prayer and sleep tight. It'll be fine, lover of mine. It'll be just fine. And lend our voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend our strength to that which we wish to be free from. Fill your lives with love and bravery, and we shall lead a life uncommon. I've heard your anguish, and I've heard your hearts cry out. We are tired, we are weary, but we're not worn out. No, we're not. Set down your chains till only faith remains. Set down your chains and lend our voices only to sounds of freedom. hear a little bit more about peace from some famous people. I've got a few quotes here. And the first one is very powerful. It's from a 17-year-old. If you want to end the war, then instead of sending guns, send books. Instead of sending tanks, send pens. Instead of sending soldiers, send teachers. And that's from Malala Yousafzai, the 17-year-old Peace Laureate. Do your little bit of good where you are, because it's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Desmond Tutu. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment to start improving the world. Anne Frank. I offer you peace, I offer you love, I offer you friendship, I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source, and I salute that source in you. Let us work together for unity and love. That's Gandhi's prayer for peace. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, then they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than the opposite. That's Nelson Mandela. Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether our baptism be of water or tears. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own, and it says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. That's from the Mother's Day Proclamation for Peace from Julia Ward Howe back in 1870. I love that one. This one's fun. We aren't passengers on Spaceship Earth. We're the crew. We aren't the residents on this planet. We're the citizens. The difference is, in both cases, is responsibility. And that's from Apollo astronaut Rusty Schweickart. And the last one, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Mark Twain. Okay, Paul, we're ready for the first slide. 2012 was a year of incredible sadness for me and my family. That's my dad, Don, my mom, Mary, and of course, Jimmy and I. In February on Super Bowl Sunday, my dad, Don, died. It was a very appropriate day because he loved football. And I remember so many Sundays in our living room, watching football games, bringing in load after load of laundry from the clothesline and folding and folding. He just refused to get a dryer. We lived in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he just thought, no, we're not going there. After retirement, Dad and Mom moved out to Las Vegas, and Jimmy, Kenny, and I flew out for his memorial service. I sang I Believe during his service. Just 9 months later, the following November, my mom, Mary, made her transition. She had been up for a visit just a few weeks earlier, and looking back, I realized she had come up to say her goodbyes. I made the very difficult decision to fly out to her memorial service by myself. After all, we had just been there. I didn't want to interrupt Kenny's school any more than I had to, and then there was that financial part. So off I went. I planned on singing What a Wonderful World for her at her service. I flew in late in the evening. The very next day, the tragic, senseless, horrifying event that took place at Sandy Hook Elementary happened. I remember calling home and telling Jimmy, don't let Kenny watch the TV. please, please don't let him see any of this. After all, Kenny was just a first grader that year, just like all those precious, innocent kids. And I also remember during my prayer time, I envisioned his school, and I envisioned the angels walking around it. And in my mind, I walked the perimeter of his school, affirming safety and security for all the staff, all the children, administration. I'll never forget being called into my parents' living room and someone saying, "You gotta come see this, President Obama's crying." My parents spent their careers in education. They were both teachers. And I just felt like I had to do something on their behalf, and also to somehow embrace the students and staff and administration at Kenny's school. I remembered something called a peace pole. My friend Nita Wolf had one installed in her backyard as a marker for her mom when her mom made her transition. So I decided that somehow I would gift a peace pole to Kenny's school. May peace prevail on earth is the message on all four sides. And his school has a very diverse population, a large Somali group. So the languages are English, Somali, Spanish, and Korean. The day it was dedicated by the organization World Citizen was one of the happiest days I had ever experienced. They made it part of their holiday sing-along. And the last song that morning was May All Children. And that's when I thought, oh my gosh, we gotta start singing this at church. It was beautiful. Along with the pole, the school was given a plaque that declared it an international peace site and was given an educational packet as well, teaching these 5 peace actions. Seek peace within yourself is number 1. And a beautiful song that I have yet to hear, but I read the words and fell in love with, by Karen Drucker and Karen Taylor Good. I am a gift goes right along with this, finding peace within yourself. I am a gift no matter what age, no matter how I look. There's beauty in each stage. I am a gift, and I promise every day when I look in the mirror, I will say, I am a gift. I am a gift. I've loved really well, and every year I've lived has a different tale to tell. I've made mistakes, have some regrets, but I promise I'll never forget that I am a gift. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth are just marching on without me, and that's when I might need you to come and find me and ever so gently remind me that I am a gift. A precious child, I'm put here on this earth, but only for a while. So I make this vow, and I say it with love. I am perfect and whole and enough, and I am a gift. Okay? The next one is to reach out in service. And I have a beautiful example of that this year. I work with students with special needs up at the 2 high schools in Bloomington as their job coach. And I arrived at work one morning to a very upsetting email that at one of the schools there had been a gun threat the day before. So the students and the staff were greeted at school that morning with their buildings surrounded by squad cars. And at the other news that we received that morning was that a senior at the other high school had ended his battle with depression the night before. So that was one day. And a few days later, we got a beautiful invitation from our vice principal. Come to the conference room. Come to the conference room. We've provided a space for you to hug, to talk, to get some support. So I went. And I walked in, and there was this beautiful bouquet of flowers. There were bagels and cream cheese and coffees and juices, all provided by a local church with a beautiful little card. And it just said, very simply, students and staff, we love you all, we're holding you in our hearts and in our prayers. It was huge. Somebody chose to do something nice and reach out so that somehow we could bear that grief together as a staff and continue to do our jobs, working with the kids. This was on the table as well, and it's very interesting because Deb just read this the other night at her remembrance service, but this was very, very helpful to me. I had my own notion of grief. I thought it was a sad time that followed the death of someone you love, and you had to push through it to get to the other side. But I'm learning there is no other side. There is no pushing through, but rather there is absorption, adjustment, and acceptance. Grief is not something you complete, but rather you endure. Grief's not a task to finish and move on from, but an element of yourself, an alteration of your being, a new way of seeing, a new definition of self. The crisis team at our school had put those sheets of paper out, and boy, did that ever make a big impact on me. The third piece action is to protect the environment. And it's interesting, we had a huge turtle in our front yard last week. Really big, he was about this big, and he was right by the gate. We heard the dog going crazy. So Kenny and I went out, we knew something was up. And so whenever I come across animals, I like to see what Native American wisdom has to say about them. So the turtle, Mother Earth. In Native American teachings, turtle is the oldest symbol for planet Earth. It is the personification of goddess energy and the eternal mother from which our lives evolve. We are born of the womb of earth, and to her soil, our bodies will return. In honoring the earth, we are asked by Turtle to be mindful of the cycle of give and take, to give back to the mother as she has given to us. So yes, we need to be good stewards of our environment. The fourth is to respect diversity. You know, we all come from different backgrounds and different families and, different traditions, different beliefs, different economic situations that have impacted our lives. And, you can see that working out in the school district. There's just so many different cultures and ways of being in this world. So yes, let's respect those differences and, just to be kinder. Just to be kinder, because that is a beautiful reminder that deep inside we're all the same. That's another Karen Drucker song. And the last one, the fifth peace action, is to be a responsible citizen of the world. That's where my giraffe comes in. I know Audrey loves giraffes, and I just always remember her with this beautiful, elegant way of being, walking in and just rising above it all, seeing the higher perspective, seeing the bigger picture. And when she retired, I had my friend Ken paint me this picture because I wanted to have a little bit of Audrey in my house. And Ken Dobratz is the painter's name. He was injured in the Vietnam War and has a very, very small percentage of sight left just in one eye. And yet he's able to create these beautiful, colorful paintings. I got a nickname after my parents passed, and there was a lot of turmoil and discontent in my family and a lot of which I learned is sometimes happens when people die. I had no clue. But Jimmy kept saying to me, Holly, just be rise above it all, girl. That's what you've been doing. You can keep doing it. Well, sometimes I didn't want to do it. But he just said, rise above it all, girl. You can do it. So maybe you'll remember this giraffe the next time you're tempted to get down in the mud. You can be rise above it all, girl or boy, and see that higher perspective. So the 5 actions are to seek peace within yourself, to reach out in service, to protect our environment, to respect diversity, and to be a responsible citizen. Peace is here all the time, just awaiting our recognition of it. Sometimes it helps to have a visual reminder like this giraffe, or to read some peace quotes to keep peace in the forefront of our lives. Perhaps it comes to us on a walk. We see a butterfly or hear some bird song, or maybe even seeing someone giving their dog a tummy rub. Little magic moments like that. The universe is always feeding us these little beautiful messages of peace, so we just need to recognize them and see them and be grateful. And we know that it does come to us gently during our quiet time, when we turn off our TV and turn on our PV, our peace vision. We glorify God as we read in Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Our thoughts are prayers, right? Right? We sing that song a lot here, and I know that it is the truth. Therefore, we all have a sacred responsibility to ourselves and to all people of the world to keep our dial on channel PV, Peace Vision. It's a lot like lighting one small candle in a pitch black room. That light spreads through, and through its warmth and calm glow conveys a sense that all is well and all will be well. Our eyes adjust and we can see, and then we're inspired to light our own candle until the whole room is filled with that beautiful, uplifting light. Here's a little May Peace Prevail on Earth tea light for everyone. So just take one and pass them around as a reminder of our time together today. From Matthew 5:14, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. So this candle is a very small reminder of our very important responsibility, even in the face of unimaginable tragic situations, to be the rise above it all girl or boy, to keep our clicker dialed into channel PV, and to adjust our antenna as necessary to keep that vision clear and uninterrupted. Namaste.